Once upon a time, in a small town nestled by a gently flowing river, 3 children stood on an empty train platform late one night. Their names were Liam, Maya, and Noor, and the air around them was still and quiet, filled only with the soft chirping of crickets. They weren't waiting for a normal train. They were waiting for a story to begin. Suddenly, with a whisper that turned into a whoosh of shimmering, silver smoke, a glowing train descended from the starry sky. It wasn't like any train they had ever seen or imagined. Its wheels didn't touch the cold iron tracks. It hovered gracefully in the air, sparkling with the light of 1,000 distant stars, like a shooting star that had decided to stop and say hello. The door slid open with a soft, inviting hum, and a friendly robotic voice filled the night air. Welcome aboard the Sky Train. I am IRA, your artificial intelligence railway assistant. Tonight, we travel through dreams, tunnels, and beyond the very edges of your imagination. The voice was warm, like a familiar melody, and filled with the promise of adventure. Hesitantly at first, and then with growing excitement, the 3 children stepped inside. The carriage was even more magical than the outside. The seats glowed with soft, beautiful colors that seemed to shift and change with their feelings. When Maya felt a surge of excitement, her seat turned a brilliant, sunny yellow. When Liam felt a flicker of nervousness, his seat shimmered with a calm, deep blue. With another gentle hum, the train began its journey. It didn't chug forward. It ascended. It rose smoothly, effortlessly, speeding upward, breaking through the soft blanket of clouds that hung over their town. Soon, they were racing across the vast, dark canvas of the night sky. The moon was a silver lantern, lighting their way. As the train glided through the cosmos, Maya pressed her face against the crystal-clear window, her eyes wide with wonder. Look, she whispered, her voice filled with awe. The stars, they're dancing with us. And she was right. The constellations, those ancient pictures in the sky, seemed to twirl and spin around the train as if they were performing just for them. Ayuratai's voice chimed in, soft and knowing. Every star you see has a story, and tonight, some of those stories will come alive. Just as the children were getting used to the breathtaking view, the train suddenly tilted and dived downward. They weren't falling. They were being guided straight into a glowing tunnel that had appeared out of nowhere in the middle of the sky. The tunnel twisted and turned like a vibrant rainbow, colors swirling around them in a dazzling display. At the very end of this kaleidoscope of light was a mysterious, dark portal. As the train slowed, ghostly shapes began to appear from the shadows. They weren't scary. They were friendly spirits of travelers from long, long ago. They floated into the carriage, their forms shimmering like heat haze on a summer day. One of them spoke, its voice a gentle echo from the past. Welcome, brave ones. Solve our riddle, and you may pass. The riddle echoed through the carriage, seeming to come from everywhere at once. I speak without a mouth. I hear without ears. I have no body, but I live in words. What am I? The children thought hard, their brows furrowed in concentration. Liam guessed, a secret. The ghosts shook their heads gently. Maya suggested, a thought. The spirits remained still. Then, Noor's eyes lit up. She had been listening to the way the riddle's voice bounced around the carriage. An echo, she shouted with confidence. The ghost smiled, their forms shimmering brightly like silver mist caught in moonlight. The dark portal ahead of them dissolved, revealing the path forward. "You may continue," one of the spirits said, its voice fading. "But beware! The next tunnel is full of surprises," with a renewed sense of purpose. The sky train plunged deeper into the unknown. The lights inside the carriage flickered, and the floor seemed to shift beneath their feet, like the deck of a ship on a rolling sea. Suddenly, the tunnel walls around them changed. They were no longer swirling colors but were lined with endless shelves of books, from floor to ceiling. They were in a tunnel that looked like a giant, spiraling library. And then, something incredible happened. Books began to fly off the shelves like startled birds, their pages fluttering in the air. They opened themselves, revealing not words, but living, breathing worlds inside. Liam, ever the adventurer, reached out and touched a book bound in green leather. In an instant, he was pulled inside. He found himself soaring over a forest made of glittering crystal trees, the wind whistling past his ears. Maya, drawn to a book with a cover like swirling water, opened it and gasped. She was looking down into magnificent underwater cities populated by glowing fish that swam in dazzling patterns. Nor hesitated, overwhelmed by the choices. A.I.R.A.'s gentle voice spoke beside her. "Choose wisely, young traveler. Sometimes the greatest adventures are the ones that challenge us." Noor nodded and reached for a simple, unadorned book titled Bravery. As she opened it, a warm, golden light enveloped her and her friends, pulling them from their separate worlds. They were transported back to the train, feeling stronger and more courageous than before. Just when they thought the journey must be nearing its end, the train began to climb once more. Higher and higher it went, past galaxies and nebulae, until it reached a station made entirely of soft, white clouds. The platform was solid under their feet, yet it felt like walking on air. At the center of the station stood a tall, majestic figure with kind, ancient eyes. It was a guardian of the sky, and its form seemed woven from starlight itself. "You have passed the tunnels of riddles, fear, and knowledge," the guardian's voice boomed, yet it was gentle. "You have proven yourselves to be true explorers of the heart and mind. Now you have a choice. You may return home, to the world you know, or you may continue forever through the endless skies of imagination." The children looked at each other. The thought of endless adventure was thrilling, but they also thought of their warm beds, their families, and the familiar comfort of home. Home was a powerful story too. Together, they made their decision. "We will return home tonight," Liam said, his voice clear and steady. "But the sky train will always be in our hearts," Maya added. Noor smiled. "And we'll be ready for the next adventure." The guardian nodded, its smile lighting up the cloud station. With a final, triumphant whistle that echoed through the cosmos, the sky train carried them gently back down through the clouds, back to their small town by the river. When they stepped off onto the familiar, empty platform, the train began to rise. It floated back into the stars, shrinking until it was just another sparkle in the night sky, disappearing like a half-remembered dream. But the adventure wasn't truly over. Every night, when they closed their eyes and drifted off to sleep, they could still hear the soft, robotic voice of A.I.R.A. whispering on the edge of their dreams. "Adventure is always waiting, just step aboard. Thank you so much for joining us on this magical journey tonight. If you enjoyed our story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss an adventure with us. We'll see you next time.